Hey guys, welcome back to more AFK Arena. In today's video, we're checking out Adrian and Elyse in the guild trials, which I kind of... Guild trials was always like my little go-to for a little bit, but now it's getting even worse because I didn't realize until I was like done making 4 teams for this that the strategy I was using wasn't really working, because I believe these are only at 30 signature item, not 40 signature item. And if you watched my video yesterday, when we look at this character, the signature item basically means that... Wait, let's expand it. It was expanded. The effect applies to all allied heroes, which means all these awesome buffs apply to all allied heroes, but that is at 40 signature item. And when we look at 40 signature item, you can see we get the little red bits on the right and left hand side of that signature item. You can see Raku here is 30 because he doesn't have those little red dots. So that's the difference, and we don't get that in the guild trials yet. So I'm a bit torn. I'm probably gonna have to wait till we get this character on Chiasma to have a full sense, but I figure we can do a little test anyway to show you guys. Now, the other thing is we don't have access to collections, and we don't have access to beasts in here either, which is becoming a bigger part of the game every patch essentially. So I feel like guild trials has kind of fallen off, but I want to show you guys just some basic teams. Now, I just went with pretty much meta stuff, but I do think that this character is decent in a stall type role. And as you can see, we're at level 650 enemies, which is okay. It's nothing crazy, but I wanted to show you because my idea here was that if they applied all their signature item buffs to the rest of the team, then we just use like things like Belinda and stuff in that back row to get those buffs and nuke the enemy, while we use them as control / stall, because they do get the 3 lives essentially. And then on top of that, in this one, we do have Ulna in there, and the rest is pretty staple. So let's just go through the teams. I'll show you what I worked out, but unfortunately, Belinda is relying purely on everyone else besides them because we don't get those buffs. And as you can see, Palmer died early, so that's less than ideal. Rain died early, so this is just literally just showing us stall potential and control potential of Adrian and Elyse. So that's pretty much it. I'm just going to stick to calling it Adrian because in this bit, it just calls the character Adrian. So that's what we look at. Now, the other thing I was curious on was their damage. And unfortunately, the damage isn't great. They definitely seem more like they're there for that 40 signature item buff for their allies and for the control and for their cheat deaths. That's essentially the way I'm looking at this character now. So let's go ahead and let's jump into the next fight. So this one was basically, to be fair, Floppy Mulan, especially with the Druid now, is just an incredibly solid team. You throw Adrian in there, and you've just got endless CC against enemy units that can't immune CC, and you're just going to win with Raku. Even if 1 or 2 of these guys die, the remaining ones are just going to lock out the enemy team. Even if Raku dies, you still have Mulan dealing enough damage to make it work. So as you can see here, like, you've just got endless amounts of CC. Between those 4 units, everyone besides Raku, like, you've just got so much CC that it's like an endless control team. It's just control for days. And as you can see here, the damage, like, we almost got out damaged by Floppy. So the damage really isn't that crazy. Also, Raku did absolutely nothing in that. Mulan is just OP, let's face it. I love Mulan. But yeah, that's what we're looking at there. Nothing too crazy in that sense. Again, if we went to lower deficits, I could probably piece some more teams together. Now, this one here, essentially, I really like Gavis with Lucius. Now, I'm using Lucius's Awakened thing, but this Gavis could be just like a 1 copy, essentially. The thing about Gavis that I like is the damage mitigation on the entry. So it allows Lucius to survive to get that energy so that Lucius doesn't die before his ult. So I do like this synergy between Gavis and Lucius. Then obviously we've got some buffing happening, and then we've got our Lavatune, who's just absolutely amazing. And the idea here is with Lavatune, who has a really good control, we've got 2 units to really just cycle through control and stuns and basically lock out the enemy team while we deal damage with that Lucius and Gavis as well. So let's jump in and take a look at this one. And as you can see, like, Lucius gets his shield as Gavis lands, so it's just perfect. And then we go into stun, then we go into another stun, then we go into another stun here, and then we're going to go into another stun here. And as you can see, it's just we're getting so many stun lock teams at the end of the day. The hard teams are the ones that can't be stunned. But this is just like pure stun lock. Like there's so many cool stun lock teams you can do with Adrian, because Adrian gets that the passive energy recovery on the 3 furniture. So you're just getting so much energy, and especially in that team with Lava Tune, it just cycles through so quickly. Now, this one, I don't think, honestly, this is just a good team. I just like this team. I like theme teams, and this is a fun theme team on the whole interactions with death. We've got Chimera, who obviously has core interactions with dying characters. We've got Damia, who obviously stops those deaths with the ult field. Then we've got what's her face, Amelia, who dies and then freezes. We've got Miss 3 lives here, and we've got 3 lives on. Like I just love the resurrections. This is just a fun team, in my opinion. This is just a theme team playing around the idea of cheating death and having death effects. And I think this team's just pretty solid all around, whether or not we had Adrian in it. But once again, Adrian does offer that little bit of extra control and stuff to it. As you can see, Amelia's down already. Lucilla's still kicking. You know, we've got plenty of lives. Damia's effect, obviously. I just really like the Damia Chimera combo. I think it's just fantastic, and then you can slap whatever you want with it. But in general, I feel like we could have taken some things out of this team and still done pretty well. But yeah, there we go. And if we go ahead and we want to look at the damage there, as you can see, Damia, Chimera, and then like we're getting almost no damage out of this. So like I said, once again, it is looking like being that more control supportive based character with some stall capabilities. And hey, a unit with some cheat death is always a good thing. Now, I hadn't got around to building a team for this one, because by the time I got here, I realized that we were only at 30 signature item. We didn't have the 40 signature item effect. And I'm like, wait, what was it? Like, it was too much for me. I was like, I have not been getting the effect I've been trying to get this whole time as I've been working through these teams. So I wanted to, in this last team, I kind of want to play around with like Athalia or Thane or just some lunging units, but the enemy team doesn't really lend itself to it. So unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to get it in this team at this deficit, which is a bit unfortunate. But like I said, at 30 signature item, you really want to play with the lunging units, because when we take a look at the 30 signature item, if we go over here, you can see that the effect also applies to allied heroes in the backline of the enemy battlefield. Now, when it says backline of the enemy battlefield, it's kind of like, do we have to actually be in their back row or just the enemy half? To me, it means that we got to be in the furthest quarter of the battlefield, not the enemy's half, like the far quarter. So yeah, the effect of having these additional buffs on a lunger is going to be nice, but I just don't think it's going to be consistent enough to make it worth it. I think this character wants 40 signature item. Once again, I will test this over on Kiasma, but I feel like 40 is where we want to land with this character, and 30 just doesn't quite cut it. But like I said, I still think for furniture, I don't think engraving, I don't think 60 engraving or 9 furniture are like must-haves. It would be nice if we got that good functionality out of the 30 signature item, because then it would have been like a decently low investment character where you'd only have to go to 30 signature item, 3 furniture, and 30 engraving to get some good use. But once again, I would hold out thoughts, because once again, in the arena trials, in the guild trials, we don't get to use beasts. We don't get to use 40 signature items. And, you know, it's just, we don't get collections. So it's a bit lackluster on what you can actually test in here now. But that's my first look at it. Let me know what you guys think. As always, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.